ring, a War Games style match. 2 teams of 5 wrestlers each will compete in that massive steel cage. 1 competitor from each team will enter the ring. 5 minutes after that, the winner of the ceremonial coin toss will have another competitor enter the ring. Every 2 minutes after that, we will crisscross and a team member from the opposite team will enter the ring until all 10 men are in the ring. This match can be won by either submission, pinfall. If someone gives up, you name it right here tonight for War Games. Who's ready?
That's Sean LaFlash, ladies and gentlemen, a man of
all right, at this
one
time,
too many words.
Let's introduce the first team.
Comes team number 1, Beast Mode, Mike Cruz, Leo Gold, the All-Pro who looks to be decked out in mixed martial arts gear tonight, and the man from the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Deathrow, Jethro.
Unbelievable. That is the best way to describe this. The hype is intense, Blake. I've got goosebumps. My hair is standing up on each of my arms as these vintage All-Stars make their way inside the cage.
And folks, remember the rules are 2 men will start, and after a 5-minute period, whichever team wins the official coin toss will then have the man advantage throughout. Every 2 minutes, a new man will enter until all 10 men are in. Submission, surrender, pinfall, that's how you win it. And the winning team will have bragging rights, and going into 2015 will be reigning supreme over the Vintage Nation.
Blake, since I've been a part of the Vintage family here, this is the first time I can ever recall a matchup like this. 2 rings enclosed in one massive steel cage, locked up inside of it. A lot of bad blood, a lot of history, and there's the man right there, the originator of the War Games.
James J. Dillon leading the 4 horsemen many times in War Games action, but typically we talked about it before the match began. Dillon 0-13 in War Games matches. In fact, the last time War Games was here in Orlando, Florida, June 26, 1988. And James J. Dillon was on the losing end of that one alongside Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Barry Windham going against Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors, and Paul Ellering. And Dillon looking to finally break through with that big win. And you see there the former champion Milo Beasley, the reunited Dark City Fight Club, the 2014 Florida Rumble winner Simon Says, and the 2-time heavyweight champion Francisco Ciatso.
I can only imagine what it's going to be like when all 10 of these Vintage All-Stars make their way in there. It's only going to be done one at a time. And right now, Blake, let's go to Sean LaFlash with our coin toss.
As J.J. Dillon will be representing his team. You see General Manager Pete Cannon and Assistant Pete Cannon, Brian Rube right out
When it
there.
came to tossing the coin, if somebody hasn't already told you, I have an unblemished record of 14-0, and I plan tonight on being 15-0.
How many of these War Games have you actually won?
J.J. Dillon talking about how he's undefeated in the coin toss, but Billy Wood pointing out how, well, JJ's never won an actual War Game.
Billy Wood trying to poke the bear. J.J. Dillon is going to play the
Mr. Dillon, since
right
you're
back.
a guest in our house, we're going to let you call the coin toss.
Showing respect to the Hall of Famer, the originator of the Horseman. He's going to call the coin toss as the coin makes its way into the air.
Mr. Dillon said you can call it, Mr. Wood.
So Billy Wood and J.J. Dillon going back and forth here.
And J.J. Dillon passing along those honors to Billy Wood.
Pete Cannon with the toss.
It is.
And it looks like Billy Wood's team has won the toss.
It is tails, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's tails. And you see the Emerald Emperor right there, his face none too pleased. Kory, Chavis, Simon Says, Francisco Ciatso, John Davis, and Milo Beasley.
That's unbelievable, Blake. J.J. Dillon pointing out earlier how he has never lost a coin toss in War Games. He has lost his first coin toss here tonight in Vintage Wrestling's Survival Games.
But maybe he can reverse his fortune. Of course, J.J. Dillon never actually on the winning team in the War Games match. And you see him here, Timothy, discussing strategy by the entranceway. While in between rings number 1 and 2, you see Leo Gold, Mike Cruz, Deathrow, Jethro, and Beast Mode. And you gotta wonder, Billy Wood, he does have control of Beast Mode. It seems like he's got Cruz and Leo Gold to buy in. But how can Billy Wood, how can anyone control Deathrow, Jethro?
Who are these two teams going to start out? That's the big question here. It looks like J.J. Dillon and Billy Wood now. Looks like they're motivating Leo Gold. All-Pro Leo Gold looks like he's going to be getting the start for Billy Wood's team. And
it looks like Milo Beasley getting the nod from J.J. Dillon, the former Vintage Heavyweight Champion Milo Beasley. Beasley, been in the professional wrestling business 16 years. This is his first trip inside the cage known as War
Games. Won the
Games.
coin toss. They will get the advantage after 5 minutes and have one of their wrestlers enter the ring.
And Simon says you see sporting a little bit of different look there.
All-Pro Leo Gold already inside the cage in MMA gear here tonight. Looking for a shoot-style performance by All-Pro Leo Gold.
Gold, we've seen him from the All-England Lawn and Tennis Club coming to us in his tennis gear. We've seen him coming from the baseball diamond. We've seen him coming from the gridiron. Now he's going to find himself right at home inside the confines of the cage.
That outfit looks like it fits well on All-Pro Leo Gold. Maybe it's a sign of things to come as he exhibits some of his MMA knowledge here tonight.
As Kory, Chavis, John Davis, and Simon says, wait a second, it looks like they're sending Shane Doe to the back. Business has picked up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for War Games here at
Survival Games.
At Vintage, for the Vintage Nation, at Survival Games. I thought Milo Beasley was getting ready to pounce on Leo Gold, but Scott Wheeler holding him at bay. Thought this one was going to start before the bell even rang. And the crowd behind Milo Beasley. Timothy, this crowd in Orlando is ready for War Games.
Absolutely. What's unique here is I don't ever recall a War Games where all of the participants surrounded the cage as they waited to make their entrance.
Bell sound, this one's underway. The main event of Survival Games 2014 is here. Milo Beasley and Leo Gold. Remember, folks, a 5-minute initial period, and then every 2 minutes, a new man will enter. Billy Wood's team does have the advantage, so we will see either Beast Mode, Deathrow, Jethro, or Mike Cruz enter the cage next, as we are here in ring number 1. And you gotta think, will Billy Wood send Mike Cruz in there and possibly go after Milo Beasley? As we've seen those two over the last few weeks on not only Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State, in various events for Vintage Wrestling, these two have certainly had their issues.
Well, I mean, I'm a little concerned now with all of these Vintage All-Stars outside the cage. You know, all hell could break loose before we even get these men inside for this matchup.
And Gold going for the knockout blow. And that knife-edge chop ringing throughout the downtown rec center. As Beasley doing a number on All-Pro Leo Gold. Now he's taking a bite out of him. Milo Beasley certainly not here to make friends. As Beasley coming to it from a dumpster near you. Certainly has issues finding some food from time to time. As Beasley there. What a takedown on Leo Gold. As you gotta wonder, Timothy, with all these men surrounding the ringside, could we possibly see this thing break down before they even enter the cage?
Well, absolutely, Blake. It's a valid concern, and it doesn't appear to be there's enough Vintage officials out here surrounding this cage that could stop pandemonium from breaking loose before this matchup continues. I've never seen anything like it here in the history of War Games. All of the participants outside in the arena surrounding the cage.
Billy Wood's team over by ring number 2, where Beasley and Gold have worked their way towards, while J.J. Dillon's team standing here over by ring number 1. They go for the suplex. As J.J. Dillon cheering his team on.
And an MMA-style submission maneuver here by All-Pro Leo Gold.
He's got the front chancery looking for that rear naked choke. And of course, choking is legal here, Tim.
I'll tell you what, Milo Beasley would be extremely disappointed if he submits and he's not inside this cage when the real deal Mike Cruz makes his way inside.
And do notice, Timothy, the only difference really between the traditional War Games match and the one here at Survival Games, there is no top on the cage. And you wonder, will any of these guys try to escape and possibly maybe bring some outside interference? As Beasley's got him in fireman's carry position, he's gonna spin him around. He's taking All-Pro for a ride. And Leo Gold, he might think he's doing NASCAR because he's going for a trip around the track. And Gold in no man's land here. And both men collapse.
Absolutely, I'm dizzy from just watching it. Both men should be glad there is a cage surrounding this ring because as dizzy as they are now, I imagine Leo Gold would have fallen his ass right outside.
As Milo Beasley trying to get back to a vertical base. Leo Gold being coached on the outside by Billy Wood, who is managing his team. Of course, the official manager of the three-time Vintage Tag Team Champions, Don Maximo and Biff Slater Beast Mode. But here he also presiding over Mike Cruz and Deathrow Jethro. As Milo looks like he was going for that discus forearm. I'm not sure he got all of it. He goes for the cover, but remember, you cannot make a pinfall attempt until all 10 men are in this matchup.
Wow, I had actually forgotten about that myself. For some reason, I was thinking it was elimination, but it is not. It is one fall to a finish here. Falls cannot occur until all 10 men enter the ring.
And Leo Gold stuck in the proverbial Murgatroyd right there, right in between the rings.
We just heard the announcement from Josh Johnson, 1 minute left, and we will have our next entrant in the cage.
And of course, it will be either Deathrow, Jethro, Mike Cruz, or one half of Beast Mode as Billy Wood's team gaining the man advantage in that coin toss, Timothy. Officially the first time ever that J.J. Dillon has lost a coin toss.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm Mike Cruz. I'm betting Mike Cruz wants to get in there for the pure fact that he hates Milo Beasley. And it's an opportunity for him and Leo Gold to take the advantage on Beasley.
As right now, Beasley trying to gain the advantage. As Milo getting the crowd whipped into a frenzy here as we are approaching
10, 9,
the second
8,
man coming in
7,
for Billy Wood's team.
6, 5.
And it looks like it's going to be Big Biff Slater. One half of the tag team champions. Biff Slater ready to rip that door off. Nope. Who's it going to be? And it looks like they're having a discrepancy right now as Milo Beasley's ready to square off. And nobody's going to enter the cage. They're all backing down. And it's going to be the real deal Mike Cruz. Timothy, the problems here well documented between these two men.
Absolutely. Beasley begging Cruz to get in there. Leo Gold from behind. And now the real deal makes his way inside as he jumps on the opportunity to take care of a down Milo Beasley.
Cruz found an opening led by All-Pro Leo Gold. And just as I was about to say, Timothy, it looked like Leo Gold and company and Mike Cruz and the rest of the team weren't utilizing properly that man advantage. And now you got a 2-on-1 in there. We're over in ring 2 right now. And remember, sometime here in the next minute and a half or so, we will see either Francisco Ciatso, Simon Says, Kory, Chavis, or John Davis enter, as we are officially under a minute to go now, so we will even things up in just a few minutes.
It is an ugly disadvantage for Team J.J. Dillon. Milo Beasley in there just getting beaten up.
As Ciatso and Davis having words there for the real deal. We know Mike Cruz in the past has certainly been friends with the Circle of Disrespect. I have to believe that's flown way out the window. As Cruz and Gold now on the advantage. Cruz drops the knee once. He's going for the second time. And on the third time, Timothy, he's going to take it to a whole nother level.
Oh! Down hard. Now remember, Blake, Milo's got to be in there through this disadvantage all the way until all 10 men get in there. They can't even pin Milo and get him out of there now. Not that they'd even want
And
to.
it's going to be the future John Davis, one of the top heavyweights in the Vintage Nation. Davis pounding away on All-Pro Leo Gold.
One half of the newly reunited Dark City Fight Club.
Cruz and Beasley going at each other. Again, their problems documented all the way back to July at Summer Bash. So we're over 4 months now between these two individuals going at each other's throats.
And look at the size advantage John Davis has over vintage cruiserweight Mike Cruz.
John Davis 6'1", 225. Mike Cruz 5'7", 160.
Unbelievable. And just like that, lifts him up like a paperweight. He's shoulder pressing him.
And Timothy showing off that raw power and strength. Maybe pound for pound the most explosive and powerful man on the biggest roster. And Cruz gets thrown like a lawn dart right into the side of the cage.
1 minute remaining in the period.
I'm going to kill
We
him.
got 1 minute to go before the advantage swings back into the favor of Billy Woodside. And we're either going to see one half of his tag team beast mode or the unpredictable man from the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Deathrow Jethro. Beasley and Cruz going at each other in ring number 1. Davis and Gold now in ring number 2. And Beasley, that running knee right to the bush of Mike Cruz. And look at him choke away on Cruz.
Beasley seeking redemption here now while he's got Mike Cruz laid out in the corner. These two vintage all-stars, nothing but pure hate drives these two individuals.
And here comes the countdown. The official's going to unlock the door. Who's going to be number 3? And it's going to be one half of the Vintage Tag Team Champions, the massive Biff Slater.
And Biff Slater calling upon John Davis. Bad blood has been brewing between the Dark City Fight Club and the Tag Team Champions Beast Mode.
If you go back to a recent edition of Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State, Timothy, as John Davis cuts underneath the clothesline, and a flying shoulder tackle sends Biff Slater into the cage, all 297, rocking off that steel. But we saw Kory Chavis turned on by Billy Wood. Remember, Billy Wood was the manager of Kory Chavis, and he allowed his charges to attack him after he was unable to capture an Internet Television Championship from Jason Falcone, which Afro Boy ended up winning. But then you saw later in the Florida Rumble, the team squared off and looked like Kory Chavis was about to be pounded on by John Davis and Beast Mode. And then Billy Wood saw his plan backfire right in his face as, wait a second, on the outside now, J.J. Dillon going back and forth with Billy Wood. As we are less than a minute away, Timothy, from this team evening themselves up. And by the looks of things, Francisco Ciatso chomping at the bit to get inside War Games.
Well, what's absolutely fascinating is you see Simon Say standing behind his partner here tonight, his best friend, his tag team partner, one half a circle of disrespect. But do not forget, Blake, those two men main event Wrestle Brawl 6 for the Vintage Heavyweight Championship. They are partners tonight, best friends tonight, but at Wrestle Brawl, they'll be on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Circle of Disrespect collectively two-time Vintage Tag Team Champions.
Ooh, did you hear that big chop on the back of Milo?
And in a Horseman-esque knife-edge chop. Yes, here we go. And the King of Florida is ready to run a rough shot all over Billy Wood's team. And the Vintage Heavyweight Champion is in the ring now. The three-time champion, Francisco Ciatso. He's pummeling away on Leo Gold. Timothy, have you ever seen Francisco Ciatso this fired up?
He is fired up. That's why he's got the gold around his waist. The Vintage Heavyweight Champion cleaning house here at Survival Game.
Ciatso in his 4th month as Vintage Champion, and a double noggin knocker on its way between Cruz and Biff Slater. Ciatso winning that title from Milo Beasley in a 6-pack challenge back at Summer Bash in July, which Mike Cruz, Beasley, and Simon Says, and for that matter, Kory Chavis were all a part of, joined by the Dog of War, Jesse Neal. But 5 of the men in that match are in this one right here. And Cruz going head first right into the steel as Francisco Ciatso cleaning house at War Games.
And now Cruz is facing Ciatso Ciatso grinding the flesh up against the steel cage. I'll be shocked if it does not tear the flesh open of the real deal, Mike Cruz.
We are down to 2 men on either side. Up next is either Don Maximo, the other half of Beast Mode, or the maniacal Deathrow. Jethro, you see the security there restraining Deathrow. And by the looks of things, the way Billy Wood's firing him up, I have to believe Deathrow could be next. And John Davis there, the power on display, that delayed vertical suplex. And look at him, Timothy. Cruz has been up there for nearly 20 seconds.
The blood just rushing to his head.
As Davis has him in position, we're past the half-minute mark here.
Look at that display of power. Absolutely unbelievable.
And Cruz comes crashing down. And by the time he collects his thoughts, he might already be in Wrestle Brawl. And here we go. And it looks like it's going to be the other half of Beast Mode. Don Maximo is going to enter this matchup. So 4 of the 5 men from Billy Wood team are in, which means the anchor is going to be Deathrow Jethro. Well, J.J. Dillon's squad, you still got Kory Chavis. You still have the Emerald Emperor, Simon Says.
And now Billy Wood's team with the advantage once again inside the cage.
As here in ring number 1, Francisco Ciatso and Mike Cruz going at it. You see John Davis and Biff Slater, but look at that, Don Maximo cutting off in the pass. Maybe a little preview of what's to come between Beast Mode and the Dark City Fight Club. And now Leo Gold going to town on Francisco Ciatso. The numbers game playing into advantage here. That coin toss really starting to rear its head for Billy Wood's team.
Absolutely, and the Vintage Nation so into this contest here. Wait a minute, the champ up high, head first, torpedo style, into that steel.
Francisco Ciatso gets thrown like a lawn dart, head first, right into that steel cage. And look at Simon Says there on the outside.
I think Ciatso's hurt. Ciatso's hurt, and you know, Simon Says in the back, buried in the back of his mind has to be the thought that he's probably a little happy that Ciatso's hurt. He's facing him for the title at Wrestle Brawl. This could leave permanent damage, harm.
And Timothy, if you take a look, Simon Says what's conferencing with Ciatso. The King of Florida is busted wide open. Our first man to have that done to him in this matchup. As you see a double team right there, really a triple team, with Beast Mode and Mike Cruz taking out John Davis. And the King of Florida is gushing. And now Leo Gold rubbing his head right across that grate, that steel cage. And now opening up that wound with those right hands.
Leo Gold, those big right hands, the blood pouring down the face of the champ. It's getting ugly here as Billy Wood's team has the advantage, but the advantage no more.
As Kory Chavis comes into the Dark City Fight Club is in, Beast Mode is in, these two teams ready to collide. So that means the final 2 men, one side will be anchored by Deathrow Jethro, and the other side will be anchored by the 2014 Florida Rumble winner, one half of the Circle of Disrespect, the Emerald Emperor, Simon Says. And Kory Chavis, you see Timothy going right after Biff Slater over there in ring number 2.
And you see Milo Beasley also cornered now by Leo Gold and Don Maximo, but Milo getting the upper hand here.
Looks like Milo's stuck in between rings 1 and 2. As he's going to go after Leo Gold. Remember, Milo Beasley and Leo Gold were the first 2 men in this one.
Jethro to enter next with Billy Wood's team, and you got to think Jethro is going to feel right at home. Only tonight, the guards aren't going to break up this fight behind the steel.
All 6 feet, 260 pounds from the Louisiana State Penitentiary. Nearly a ton in there on just Billy Wood's side. As Beasley with that running knee in the corner to Mike Cruz. As those two's personal issue ramping up throughout this War Games matchup. And now you see John Davis and Biff Slater over here in ring number 1. The Dark City Fight Club in Beast Mode certainly ready to go all out in this one.
Well, I said earlier on tonight, blood would be shed, and we have seen the red dripping out of the face of the champ, Francisco Ciatso, as Biff Slater rams his head back into the steel, and Biff Slater now taking advantage of one half of the Dark City Fight Club, Kory Chavis.
And you gotta wonder, will J.J. Dillon's team try to retaliate and return the favor and bust someone else open? You hear the countdown,
Francisco got busted open earlier.
Was it? Oh! And there looks like a mafia kick from Kory Chavis to Don Maximo. And here comes Jethro. The prison guards have unleashed him. Billy Wood's going nuts as his team is entirely in. And remember, Timothy, once Simon Says enters the ring, it will be the match beyond period for submission, surrender, pinfall, whichever way it comes. The winner will be declared after all 10 men are in. We are just about a minute or so away from Simon Says getting in there and this being all-out warfare.
Simon Says it's got to be difficult for him right now, being the last man outside the cage, looking at the action going on inside. He wants to get in there and help his team here tonight.
Says has to be chopping at the bit, not only to get in this match, but you got to think, Says wants to get revenge on whoever took him out prior to the Florida Rumble. Still yet to figure that out, but you got to believe it's one of the 5 men on the other side.
Absolutely. Anticipation, anxiety, all at an all-time high for the Emerald Emperor right now as he stands outside the cage.
Nice double team there. Mike Cruz Irish whips Milo Beasley right into a clothesline from the All-Pro Leo Gold. J.J. Dillon rallying the troops, giving some last-minute instructions to the Emerald Emperor as Simon Says is about to be unleashed in War Games.
I gotta say, Billy Wood looks a lot more composed than J.J. Dillon right now. We see J.J., he's got the jacket off, the tie loosened up, very stressed out as his team is on the disadvantage right now.
Remember, J.J. Dillon 0-14 in War Games matches. Looking for that first win here. As folks,
Wait a minute, the Dark City Fight Club has Biff Slater in hands, and Biff Slater
comes in.
Right to the steel, right there in the middle where that big steel bar rises up.
And Timothy, here he comes, the Emerald Emperor of Professional Wrestling. Simon Says has entered the contest. All 10 men are in. And as J.J. Dillon just said, the Survival Games officially begins. The match beyond period is here. 5-on-5, submission, surrender, pinfall. Scott Wheeler's going to have his handful in there, Timothy.
J.J. Dillon, the Hall of Famer, amped up at ringside. The Emerald Emperor cleaning house until the real deal Mike Cruz takes control.
Cruz is going to charge in, and Says sends him right to the buckle, and Says throwing those right hands at the real deal.
Big right hands from the #1 contender for the heavyweight championship. Big boots to Cruz in the corner.
Stopping a mud hole and walking it dry. Is he to Mike Cruz? And Simon Says and Jethro, we saw them hook up on a recent edition of Championship Wrestling in the Sunshine State. Trying to go at it right here. A knee breaker right there by Says. Trips up Cruz. And now Simon Says, is he going to go to town? How fitting! J.J. Dillon's in the house. The former leader of the Four Horsemen. And Says, going to take Cruz to school. Figure 4 leg lock right in the middle of ring number 2.
The crowd amped up there behind the Emerald Emperor as he's got Cruz, and this could end the match. And Jethro breaking it up there as Jethro recovers with a big forearm right to the skull of Simon Says.
Ciatso continuing to work over that left knee of Mike Cruz, which appears to be injured. Here at ring number 1, the Dark City Fight Club in beast mode. Going at it tooth and nail. You have to believe these two teams will be inside the same ring. On another occasion, some other time soon, possibly Wrestle Brawl.
Blake, we got 10 vintage All-Stars inside this cage. I don't know how Scott Wheeler's keeping up with all the action. I'm having a hard time keeping it up with myself. I mean, this has far exceeded anyone's expectations, for sure.
And there's the Jersey City Stampede by Biff Slater. And he wants the pinfall. Here's our first pinfall attempt of the night. 1. And it's only going to get a 2 count. Scott Wheeler, and if you notice there, Timothy, Biff Slater looks to be busted open as well.
Oh, busted wide open. And look at Milo Beasley up there on that second turnbuckle. Big right hands and now biting the forehead of Don Maximo.
As Don Maximo and Milo Beasley stuck in between the 2 rings, you see the Dark City Fight Club and Biff Slater there in ring 1. Jethro, Francisco, Ciatso, Simon Says, Mike Cruz, all over in ring 2 as it looks like Leo Gold has found his way over there as well.
Well, Jethro threw Simon Says up against that steel cage numerous times. I've yet to see Simon Says move since that awful, vicious attack by Jethro. Simon Says just laid out in the corner.
Slater goes for another Jersey City Stampede. Well scouted by Davis, and he takes him out with a cutter. He's going for the pinfall. 1, 2, and a near fall.
As the other half of Beast Mode breaks it up just in the nick of time, Scott Wheeler definitely has his hands full inside this cage here tonight. Look at the big left and rights by the champ over there on Deathrow, Jethro.
Timothy, each team has one pinfall attempt to no avail. As All-Pro Leo Gold throwing those strikes at Kory Chavis.
We saw a very calm, cool, and collected, almost arrogant Billy Wood earlier on when his team had the advantage. Things are all even up now, and the look of stress on Billy Wood's face says it all.
From what I understand, Timothy, Leo Gold doing some Gracie training before this one. Getting himself prepared to be inside the cage. Not an octagon, but the cage. As Biff Slater there with a gourd buster, but it's actually going to be an assisted one as he drops Mike Cruz on Milo Beasley. 1, 2, but Cruz doesn't capitalize right away, and unfortunately for him, only gets 2.
I spoke with Leo Gold earlier on this afternoon in the locker room. He was very excited about his training at Gracie's school. He said that she just opened it up about a week ago, and she's one of the best trainers he's ever had.
Because right now, this one really breaking down a lot of action.
Her name's Gracie.
Simon says up the ropes. It looks like he was going for the Says Express, but he's cut off there by Jethro, and then all of a sudden, a K5 by the King of Florida. 1, 2, oh! And Mike Cruz, unbelievable with that big swanton bomb. He's going to break up the pin, and there's that discus forearm. The sliding D by Milo Beasley.
And a big spear by Leo Gold.
He nails it with the gold rush, a flurry of action right here. And there's that blackout mafia kick. Timothy, the only men standing right now, Kory, Chavis, and Beast Mode.
How fitting it is. Dark City Fight Club.
As it looks like Beast Mode trying to have their way with Kory Chavis.
It's fitting that these are the men battling it out right now. Dark City Fight Club, Beast Mode, Tag Team Champions versus what I would have to figure are the #1 contenders.
And Beast Mode working over Chavis there. Biff Slater dropping that elbow from the second rope. He's got him in position. Maximo picks him up. Oh no. Gonna be that double power bomb. Just throws him right for the cage. Kory Chavis very well could be broken.
Absolutely, and Beast Mode's got to go for the pin. But John Davis, the other half of Dark City Fight Club, not allowing that to take place.
Biff Slater goes for that clothesline. Oh no! Davis has him up! Could we see it? 3 seconds around the world! Oh my God! What a maneuver! John Davis, Timothy, I have to believe, by far the biggest man he's ever got. All 6'4", 297, spinning him around with that powerbomb.
When John Davis got Biff Slater up, this Vintage Nation erupted here at Survival Games. All men laid out. It is anybody's contest right now. Somebody needs to take advantage of the situation.
10 men crawling around the ring. Simon Says still laid out on the far side of ring number 2. Timothy, 27.5 years.
Wait a minute.
After our first War Games match.
Blake, Cruz is going way up high.
July 4th, 1987. As Mike Cruz, is he trying to escape the cage?
I mean, but that's not going to secure a victory.
As Mike Cruz, he's going up top, of course. Not something we're used to seeing in War Games, as there's normally a top up there.
I mean, Mike Cruz could just be saying he's had enough.
Cruz,
Get me out of here.
trying to fend off Milo Beasley. Oh, Beasley gets dropped on that top rope.
What is Mike Cruz? What
the hell is Cruz? Cruz is looking back. Timothy, what is he doing? Mike Cruz, he puts himself in position. He can't do this. He's 15 feet in the air. The real deal.
Mike Cruz!
He takes them all out.
Unbelievable! All 10 Vintage All-Stars laid out. Mike Cruz a good 15, 20 feet high in the air.
Vintage Nation going absolutely bananas in downtown Orlando. What a match!
Unbelievable. Mike Cruz high-fiving the ceiling here in this arena. That was impressive. Something you're only going to see in vintage wrestling.
Nearly 26.5 years after the last War Games match in Orlando, Florida, and Vintage Nation is living up to
Jay with a big right hand lays out Billy Wood, the Hall of Famer, with a big right hand.
Says off the ropes, says express. Down goes Gold. Simon says now, back to a vertical base. Wait a second. Mike Cruz has brass knucks. Cruz has brass knucks. He's setting it up. Oh my God! He just plucked Simon Says with those knucks. Cruz gets sent in the cage by Ciatso. 1, 2, 3, and Ciatso has pinned Leo Gold. J.J. Dillon's team has won. J.J. Dillon has finally won War Games.
Unbelievable, no other word to explain it. All these men are beaten, battered, and bruised, and it is the champ.
Is your winner!
Champ picks up the victory with J.J. Dillon's team. J.J. Dillon's first victory ever in a War Games style matchup.
Unbelievable turn of events. The reunited Dark City Fight Club, Milo, Beasley, Simon Says, and the man that gave the pinfall, the vintage heavyweight champion, the king of Florida, Francisco Ciatso. What a victory for these guys. What a way to close out Survival Games by winning this hellacious brawl.
Jethro already been taken out of here by security. Billy Wood's team leaving with their heads hanging low.
Absolute war, living up to its name, Timothy. War Games was every bit of it. As Team Dillon, the circle of disrespect. Wait a second. Simon Says he's busted wide open and he looks pissed off.
I'm not really,
Just won the match.
I'm not sure what Simon Says is all pissed off about.
And Ciatso has the nuts, of course. He took it from Mike Cruz. We saw Mike Cruz level Simon Says with those nuts. But Simon Says, Timothy, I think he believes his tag team partner hit him with his own brass knuckles.
No way. These guys are best friends.
And they're pushing. We've got a pull apart here. We know when this will be settled. In late January at Wrestle Brawl 6 for the heavyweight title. As J.J. Dillon trying to restore order on his team. Simon Says being held at bay by Scott Wheeler and Milo Beasley. Dark City Fight Club doing their best to restrain the king of Florida.
Simon Says is confused here. Simon Says does not realize that it was Mike Cruz who hit, oh my God, double middle finger, adding insult to injury, flipping off his own best friend, as Simon Says thinks it was the champ who hit him over the face with the brass knuckle.
Over the last 5 or 6 months, Timothy, at various vintage events, and of course on Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State, we have seen Simon Says and Francisco Ciatso in a few precarious situations. Obviously, the timing is not the best. As it looked like Billy Wood was trying to set them up for a long time. Simon Says is with all the Says fans in the crowd right now. But right now, from about 20 yards away, scaring a hole through Francisco Ciatso. With the Says Express, Timothy is pulled into the station. Next stop, Wrestle Brawl 6, one-on-one.
They're over here,
King
buddy.
of Florida.
They're right next to us, Blake. Get back up. Simon Says telling John Davis to get out of his face. Simon Says, wait a minute! Back up, Blake!
Wait,
back up, Blake!
Oh, he is just behind. These two going at it right in front of us. Timothy, I think it's safe to say.
Wait a minute! Back up!
Timothy, I think it's safe to say.
These guys are best friends, Blake.
We have just seen the implosion of the circle of disrespect. Simon Says and Francisco Ciatso no longer on the same page.
I mean, John Davis trying to explain to Simon that Ciatso had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the blood that is pouring down Says' forehead.
This crowd in downtown Orlando certainly getting behind the Emerald Emperor, but everybody in attendance saw it, fans who at home saw it. Simon Says was not struck by Francisco Ciatso. As we're getting word from J.J. Dillon, these 5 men tend to get high strung. This is just going to be water under the bridge. But we saw these two really come close. They were shoving each other. Francisco Ciatso and Simon Says, probably their relationship at the worst it's ever been.
Simon Says pushing everyone aside, including all favorite J.J. Dillon. He doesn't want to associate with anyone right now.
Timothy, what an unbelievable event here tonight at Survival Games. Still in shock. Simon says that Ciatso nearly coming to blows. Their team does win. Team Dillon does get the big win. And we now know Wrestle Brawl 6 is the event of heavyweight title. Ciatso, as Simon says, that just turned out to be nuts.
Absolutely best friends no more, I guess it's safe to say. Simon says absolutely confused here because Ciatso, he was holding the brass knucks. That's all Simon says saw. He didn't see Cruz hit him over the skull with it, busting him wide open. And Simon says is in the wrong here.
Folks, again, what an event here tonight at Survival Games. Afro Boy, still your internet television champion. Now we know the man that will face him at Wrestle Brawl, the winner of the Opportunity Knock Six-Pack Challenge, the Perfect 10, Lince Dorado. We've talked about Simon Says and Francisco Ciatso. Los Pendejos returning, of course, to Vintage tonight, changing their attitude up, calling the five-star era some imposters, and I have to believe, Timothy, those two teams will be colliding sometime soon.
It was an interesting night here at Survival Games, but it's going to be a lot more interesting at the Wrestle Brawl Block Party. Outdoors, downtown Orlando, Orange Avenue Vintage Wrestling, shutting the city down, shutting the street down. It is the biggest event of the year, 6 years in the making, and I guess what? I'm buying my tickets right now after what I just saw between Ciatso and Says. That, my friends, is going to be one hell of a main event.
And I will be joining you ringside there, Timothy, along with the rest of the Vintage Nation coming up at Wrestle Brawl 6. But remember, check out VintageWrestlingFL.com, Vintage Wrestling on Facebook, and of course, Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State each and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on the Bright House Networks. And again, January 25th, Wrestle Brawl 6, the biggest event on the Vintage calendar. But folks from downtown Orlando, Florida, we want to thank you for joining us tonight here at Survival Games 2014. For ring announcer Sean LaFlash, for my broadcast colleague Timothy Barr, I'm Blake Chadwick. Thank you for joining us at Survival Games.